Okay, so today what we're going to be doing is, we hired you after that interview. So what we're going to be going over is some of the van training. We're going to go over a lot about the seatbelt use, drug, alcohol use, cell phone use, fatigue, backing up, and then after this we'll go out to the van and I'll show you how to do some of the pre-checks in the morning when you get here, and then the checks every time before you get in to use the van. So, what you'll be using most of the time is full-size vans that are manufactured, designed, 10 or more occupants, including the driver. Most of ours have 9 plus the driver, 9 plus the driver, so you get 10 people in there. And then I got this PowerPoint up here for you, and you can follow along there. So a little bit about the passenger vans. They're substantially longer and wider than a car. Requires more space and additional reliance on the side mirrors for changing lanes, and does not respond as safely to abrupt steering maneuvers. That means that they can flip over a lot easier than a car can, because of the weight and the height of the van. They do require additional braking time. So basically, the more weight you have, the longer it takes to stop. And the higher the speed you are traveling at, the longer it takes to stop. I'm sure you've had some, and there is a computer course training that you have to do as well, and that will go more into depth of stopping lengths. Following distance, maintain a cushion of safety around the vehicle, no traffic on all sides. Drive in the right-hand lane whenever possible, so you mainly want to stay in that right-hand lane, or if you do end up having to pass somebody, go over into the left-hand lane. And recommended safe following distance is as follows. When weather, road, and visibility conditions are good, maintain 4 seconds behind other traffic, which we'll go more in depth here in just a couple other slides here. When weather, road, and visibility conditions are bad, maintain at least 6 seconds behind other traffic. So when the vehicle in front of you passes a fixed object, for example, a telephone pole or mailbox, count 1, 1001, 1, 1002, etc. up to 4 seconds. And you should not pass the same fixed object before the designated count. So that's a good way to measure your distance behind the car that is in front of you. Stay well behind larger commercial vehicles so you can see around them for potential hazards. And when following in traffic, if you cannot see the other vehicle's mirrors, you may be in the blind spot, which is more talking about 18-wheelers, because when you can't see their mirrors, they definitely can't see you. So you definitely want to stay farther back on there. And on this next slide, I'm sure you've seen these before. Some of the big trucks have them on the back of theirs. It's the no zone for 18-wheelers, which is basically anywhere halfway up the trailer in front of them or behind them. So you want to stay out of those zones unless you have to pass them, and then you can definitely cross across those no zones. And most of the 18-wheelers in this next slide, they do make wide right turns, so you definitely want to stay behind the truck far enough to where you won't get caught in his turn radius. Next, we'll go on to mirrors. Adjust the mirrors so that you can barely see the edge of your van in the mirror. And when changing lanes, always check for blind spots by first leaning forward in your seat to change your sight angle, and by turning your head. So basically, you're sitting up straight, you want to lean forward a little bit, and then you can turn and look. And always you want to do that, twice before you end up changing lanes. And scan your mirrors every 3 to 5 seconds, because traffic can come up very fast, and you always want to know what's around you. The biggest blind spot is directly behind the vehicle. Avoid backing whenever possible. And always when you're backing out, make sure you have someone else that is watching you, because you will have children, families, and other objects, luggage, cars, that could be behind you, and you don't want to run over any of those. Before entering an intersection, scan all directions and cover the brake. Changing traffic signals, vehicles running red lights, or making the right turn on red. Pedestrians, bicyclists, and animals, trains, and school buses. So that's stuff you want to scan for when you're coming into an intersection. So if you ever do have to pass anybody on the highway, the maneuvers around other vehicles can be dangerous. So always leave plenty of space behind the vehicle ahead. Stop far enough behind the vehicle so that you can see their rear tires and pavement behind the vehicle. So basically, when you're coming up to a stoplight, you want to see the rear tires touching the cement, and that is showing you that you have enough space behind you just in case someone does rear end you from behind. That will give you enough room to move up so that you don't hit that other person ahead of you. Always communicate your intentions by using your turn signal, even if it's changing lanes or there is nobody around you. Always use your turn signal. And the turn signal must be given continuously during at least the last 100 feet before you turn. Minimizing rollovers, slow down, and drive cautiously, especially on rural roads, shoulders, ditches, and embankments, as well as on and off ramps, create the potential for the vehicle rollover. And like I said at the beginning, it's a lot easier to roll a van than a car is. So when you're coming around windy roads and down and up hills, reduce your speed below the speed limit posted for all turns in poor road conditions. Posted speed limit is safe for cars, not 15-passenger vans, so you definitely want to stay below that speed limit when you are especially making turns. And if there's raining, snow, everything like that. If the van's wheels drop off the roadway, gradually reduce your speed and steer back onto the road whenever it is safe to do so. Avoid panic-like steering and hard braking. So if your wheels do ever go off on the side of the road, just slow down a little bit and slowly start bringing your van wheels back onto the pavement. So when you get into the van, what you want to do is recline the seat back, move the seat rearward, tilt the steering wheel down, and you want to be 10 inches away from the steering wheel, and always wear your seatbelt. So the best way to have your hands on the steering wheel is at 9 and 3 or 8 and 4. You always want to have two hands on the wheels for your safety and the passenger safety. Now, this also decreases arm fatigue and reduces injuries. So. Next, we're going to go over to reduce the risk of a rollover. Do not load items on top of the vehicle or tow a trailer. So we can't tow trailers behind our vans. Do not overload the vehicle with passengers and or equipment. So the back is used for the luggage, and so you never want to go over, the 10 passenger limit. Usually we rarely have 10 passengers in the van, but there are some instances where we have to do that, and if that's just our rule, we can't have more than how many seatbelts there are in the car. Passengers should be distributed evenly from side to side for balance and sit towards the front of the vehicle. So if you do have to pick up one person, it would be best that they do sit in the front if they do not want to happen to sit in the next row back. We're going to go a little bit over the vehicle. Always drive with your headlights on to be seen by other traffic, even during the day. Perform pre-trip inspections and notify the appropriate person of any vehicle defects. And we'll go over that here. We'll go out to the van here in a second, and we'll go over that. So, when it's snowing, always clean snow, ice, and frost from all windows. Usually we don't just do it off the windows, we clean the whole truck off, the whole van off. It's just safer that way, and it just looks better when we're picking people up. Secure any loose items within the vehicle so they do not cause injuries in a crash. And this includes all the luggage and anything else that you might have in the car. And so now we're going to go over a little bit of what the passengers, what we need to do with them while they're in the car. They must wear seatbelts at all times. So basically, when we get in the van, we just say, if you could please put your seatbelts on, we would appreciate that for your own safety. Know the van evacuation policy. So basically, the people close to the door go out front, and here on and so forth. Adhere to the terms of passenger van policy at all times. Should not use interior light when the van is in transit, because that can obscure your view from glare off the windows. Passenger sits toward the front, be distributed evenly from side to side, and never more than 10 people in the van. Passenger loading and unloading. Drivers should use good judgment to decide how and where to unload passengers safely. Always pick up and drop off passengers so they do not have to cross traffic to get to their destination. Keep all passengers away from the front and rear of the vehicle when crossing. The use of a responsible spotter when loading, unloading, backing, or parking is recommended to ensure no person or object is in harm's way. Usually when you're picking up, you won't have someone else with you, but when you do get back to the hotel and you're dropping people off or going to park or backing up, definitely have one of the other employees